Hello and welcome back to my channel. Guys, we all know it, sharks are rad. So that's what I'm doing today. I'm talking about 10 rad sharks. Got some fun facts for each of them. That's it though. I hope you enjoy and let's get started. Alright, starting with the Greenland Shark. They are the Arctic's biggest fish, growing to about 24 feet long, and they're also the only shark that can remain in Arctic waters all year round. They grow incredibly slowly, and some have lived for over 400 years. Their flesh is toxic, which helps them survive in the cold, and also makes their meat poisonous. They are gentle giants. There is not a single documented case of a Greenland shark ever attacking a human. And lastly, for the Greenland shark, they are sometimes known as nature's garbage disposal because they will eat just about anything, just like how goats are, kind of. Alright, now for the second shark, I have the Hammerhead Shark, and they get their name for their weird shaped head, but that head is that way for a reason. It actually allows them to see 360 degrees around them. While still classified as a fish, they don't lay eggs. They actually give birth to live young. A few sharks do that, and hammerheads are one of them. Parthenogenesis has been observed in them, and I had to look up what that meant too, but it essentially means that the female was able to get her eggs fertilized without sperm and on her own, which is really crazy. They talk about that a little bit. It's a little different, but in Jurassic Park. They have very, very good electromagnetic sensing abilities, which helps them hunt. Lastly, this one was a bit silly, but they sometimes use their weird hammer head to hold down prey, which is really interesting. Next, I'll be talking about the ugly Goblin Shark. It's just called the Goblin Shark. I said it was ugly. It has translucent and wrinkled skin, and because the skin's translucent, it appears pink. They're actually pretty mysterious to researchers. They're harder to, view because we don't really have them in captivity. Research is not great around them, but we do believe they are ambush predators. They do dive really deep in the ocean. Some have even been caught at around 4,300 feet below the surface, so it is just pitch black down there. They're a lot like our Greenland sharks, and they'll eat a lot of different things, but unfortunately that even means garbage. They are often found with garbage in their stomach that they find on the bottom of the ocean floor. Lastly, for goblin sharks, they are basically living fossils. Their family can be traced back around 125 million years. Next, I'm going to talk about the horn shark. There's several different kinds, and the one that I saw specifically was around the west coast of the United States, around California, Oregon, Washington. But one thing that I found very interesting about them is that they apparently maintain about 10,000, I'm assuming, square feet of just their own spot in the ocean, and some of them actually barely ever leave that spot. They are very, very sensitive to light, so they often live in crevices deep below the ocean surface so the sun can't reach them. 95% of their diet consists of crustaceans and mollusks, just smaller, easier to kill animals. They are often found in aquariums all around the world, but especially where they live, right around California and the western coast of the United States. And lastly, for the horn shark, the females lay spiral egg cases, which they store in just crevices underwater to keep them safe from predators. Next, I'm going to talk about angel sharks. They actually got their name because of their flat body and how they resemble stingrays. They're very different than any other sharks that I've seen. Their babies, like some animals in the wild, are born pretty self-sufficient. Once the parents just have them, it is all up to them on their own survival, and that's really interesting. And unlike some different sharks, they do not need to move to breathe. They have special mechanisms in their body that allow them to be able to stay in one spot. They lay flat underwater camouflage, waiting for their prey to come by, and then they attack in about 1/10 of a second, getting them. Lastly, for the angel shark, they live around 25 to 35 years, though they are endangered, and that 25 to 35 usually comes with no human interaction. Now starting with the Thresher Shark, they are very interesting. They have a tail that is different than any other shark. It's like a solid, it's almost like a club, and they use it like you expect it. They use it to bludgeon prey. They're one of the few shark species that actually breach. Not few, but not all of them do it. Breaching is essentially when they jump out of water, and they literally do it just like dolphins. That strong tail comes in handy. Unborn Thresher Sharks are actually cannibals. They eat the mother's unfertilized eggs in the womb. They actually swim pretty fast too. They swim at about 22 miles per hour, which is kind of hard to understand, but in comparison, the great white shark only swims at about 15 miles per hour. And lastly, for the threshers, their migration patterns and stuff are very mysterious to us because some of them stay in the same place. They don't really leave throughout their life, and others do 1,000-mile journeys. So we don't exactly know much about them yet in that way. Next, I'm talking about the Mako Shark, and this shark has two distinctly different kinds. It is the short fin and the long fin Mako. The short fin Mako can actually swim at around 31 miles per hour, and if you already forgot, that is over double what the great white shark can swim. Some Makos actively go out of their way to hunt swordfish, which is crazy because they're one of the more dangerous fish and they're one of the faster fish. To the crew of different boats' terror, some short fins have known to jump out of the water onto different boats, which is good in a way because they're trophy fish, but also very dangerous. Lastly, for the Makos, they were actually written about by Ernest Hemingway in The Old Man and the Sea. Next, I have the Basking Shark, which is huge. It is actually the second largest living fish, ranging to around 23 to 26 feet long. They, similar to whales, will troll the ocean, just keeping their mouth open, letting food come in, and they typically eat zooplankton, and they eat a lot of it. They migrate very far south as like South Africa and different parts of South America, but they do it so slowly. When migrating, they go about 2.4 miles per hour. Their mouths are about 3 feet wide, and they have 9 rows of teeth, about 1,500 in total hooked tiny teeth. Lastly, for the Basking Shark, the UK's only shark death ever actually came from a basking shark jumping out of the water, accidentally capsizing their boat and killing the 3 people that were on board. Next, I'm going to talk about Epaulette Sharks, or walking sharks. They are among the 80% of sharks that are under 4 feet long. They can measure max at about 42 inches long. Their mothers lay hundreds of eggs every single year, and they are pretty much on their own the second they come out, which is probably why they gather in such large groups. As their nickname kind of suggests, they can walk, kind of. They have 2 pectoral fins that help them kind of glide across the bottom of the ocean floor, so kind of like walking. Since they're so tiny, their diet usually consists of small fish, crustaceans, and even worms, oddly enough. They are far from endangered, and they're usually found around Australia and New Guinea. Now let's talk about the one that people are usually most interested in, the Megalodon. This behemoth grew to around 60 feet long, and it was a true apex predator. Though they went extinct 2.6 million years ago, their teeth are found all the time, which is how we actually measure their size and estimate their size, and some people even claim to see them to this day. They had a bite force 3 times stronger than a T-Rex's and could even crush a car. As far as we know, it was the largest fish to ever exist, and it ate around 2,500 pounds of food every single day. They had around 275 teeth, and they are estimated to have had the strongest bite force of any animal to ever live. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Subscribe for more and tell me how you like this. This was a little different than the stuff I usually do. And if you want to join my members, feel free. I've got 2 members already. I'm going to shout them out at the end here, but I just appreciate you guys watching. Comment below what other animals I should talk about, and have a great day. Bye.
Let me get 'em.